Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screen Smash, CouchSoup's #1 and only video game podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some cool stuff. We're going to be talking about video game content creators, where it all started, and the ones that we love, as well as their impact on the industry as a whole. We're then going to slyly segue our way into talking about games that break the fourth wall and how games kind of inherently break the fourth wall. And there's a lot to get into there, so we'll get into that. But before we get into all of that, thank you so much for watching this video and choosing CouchSoup today. Make sure you join us for Screen Smash. We live stream our recordings on Twitch at 8 p.m. Central on Monday nights. And then we have the edited version of the podcast on our YouTube channel over on CouchSoup, which is at 2 p.m. on Fridays, Central Time. Time zones, weird.
Central Time,
but, yeah. Make sure you join us over there for the premiere at that time on YouTube, because we're always having some fun in the live chats. But before we dive into today's episode, let's introduce the cast. So with us today, we have Louis Reza. There he is.
That was my Street Fighter sound effect.
What was that? Not surprised.
That's his kick.
We have Mr. Jake Brown.
What up? Not enough noises from my end, I guess.
And the one and only Dan Morris.
I'm not hosting.
Yeah.
Because today it's me. I'm taking over. Dan is
hitting the bricks.
He's been fired or demoted.
He's been working
so
hard
today
on
I'm going to be your host.
absolutely.
My name is Nick McKay, and let's dive straight into our first topic, guys. We're going to be talking about our favorite gaming content creators and why that really, really works. So to get the ball rolling here and kind of start it out, I think that this sort of concept of video game content creators works really well for like a lot of reasons. But a reason that I think I resonate with it is like I used to watch. So my uncle play video games. He's like only 3.5 years older than me. So he's always been like my bigger brother. But I used to sit back and watch him play video games all the time. And that kind of reminds me, and I think it resonates with me to sort of watch someone play a video game, because it sort of reminds me of that time. And I think it's a concept that works really well for the medium, because you can kind of enjoy the experience of the game without actually playing it, you know. And there's creators that are able to find this like really, really cool way to also bring more entertainment to it. You know, like I think about like where I don't want to say like the pioneer of it, but certainly someone who popularized it was PewDiePie. He's like the, you know, like the god of YouTube. He's like the most subscribed to. I don't know if he's the most subscribed to anymore, like as a solo
He was
creator.
For
He was for quite a bit. I don't know if he still is.
He was for a while.
I think Markiplier surpassed him a while ago.
Yeah, I think he's kind of dropped up. I think Mr. Beast is also up there. But anyways, PewDiePie was like that. He was like that first guy that popularized the sort of let's play genre of games, or he would just play through a game and you would just watch him do that. Like I remember he started with those amnesia games, and it was always hilarious to see his like over exaggerated like reactions to jump scares and stuff. But I think like that's why the medium works really well for me, because you can kind of, it reminds me of like watching my brother play games, and you can kind of be entertained by the game but also by the creator as well. So I don't know, I mean, how do you guys feel about gaming content creation, and do you like it, and why do you think it works?
I was gonna say like yes and no, because like I'm a type of person, like I'd rather be hands-on. I'd rather play, you know what I mean? So if a game like Spider-Man 2 came out, like am I gonna watch somebody play it, or like no man, like I'm getting into this, I'm playing it myself. But like I could definitely understand for people who like may not own a system or may not have the money to like own a game, and they're like, all right, since I can't play it, let me check it out through somebody else's, you know, gameplay. Now there's definitely some channels though. There's been like one or two I've seen throughout the years which I kind of liked. One that stood out in particular was there's a group of wrestlers. Xavier Woods hosts Up Up Down Down. It's a YouTube gaming / I guess talk show. It's kind of, they just play games and talk, but it's so funny seeing.
But we do.
I mean, essentially, but it's like. I can't explain it. It's just it's craziness. I mean, I know we're pretty crazy here too, but it's cool because it's like he takes his gaming setup around the world essentially, and he'll hang out in the back with other wrestlers that you see on TV, like all these serious people you'd see on TV. It's cool to kind of see that other side to them, and like they just goof off and play some like Mortal Kombat or some like Gang Beast or something. And I think it's really cool to kind of like see the personalities of some of these people, like seeing like a Randy Orton. You're like, oh, I didn't know he was that goofy, or blah blah blah. I don't know. I enjoy it. Like I enjoy it. I like seeing how games. I go there for their personalities and see them, but I end up leaving sometimes with like, oh, that game is actually kind of cool that they played. Like I think that was how I was introduced maybe to like I don't know if it was Limbo, it was some type of horror game. I can't remember, but like I was definitely introduced to a few different games from content creators. So I mean, I guess that's pretty much where I stand on that.
It's a weird thing because like Jake, I'm one of those people that's more like, I remember when Let's Plays became a thing back in the day, in the earlier days of YouTube, and I remember thinking like, why would somebody watch somebody play a video game rather than play the video game?
You're watching someone play Call of Duty and talk about it? PewDiePie.
And then it's like a year or two later, I was like, oh, I got to get in on this because it's hot and it's what everyone's doing. You know, it's the big popular thing. I don't have a lot of content creators that I can specifically say that I watch a lot. There are a few that I can mention, and it's just the like, when you become a content creator, it becomes difficult to watch other content creators because I'm so busy creating content. I will look to other content creators for ideas a lot, and there's actually some of my favorites go back to some of the earliest videos I've watched were from GameSpot. Actually, they did a series on their channel called Resident Knievel, where
Nice.
yeah, Resident Knievel. It was Mary Kish and Mike Mahardy did a Let's Play series of the Resident Evil games because it was back when I want to say it was right around the time that Resident Evil 5 or 6 was coming out. I forget which one. And they were like, hey, we're going to have Mary play Resident Evil because she's never played the games before. And Mike was a diehard Resident Evil fan. So they set up some cameras. Mary started playing, and Mike was like the expert to guide her. And for me as a Resident Evil fan, I was fascinated to watch this series of the newbie playing one of my favorite games while she's being guided by an expert like myself. And I just enjoyed watching the process of how she took things in, how she learned how to play. And he was very like hands off. He kind of tried to let her figure things out before he stepped in. But I watched a good chunk of that series, and I always enjoyed it. I actually have emulated that series numerous times. Like, if you know, I've made Brandy play Resident Evil in a very similar style. I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to make someone play Resident Evil. And then the other channel that I can shout out is called RKG, which is a group of British gentlemen that started this channel. They're ex-IGN UK employees. They started a series on IGN called Prepare to Try, where it was one of the guys was playing Dark Souls, and the two other guys were his mates that just kind of watched and haggled and mocked and just like it made fun of him essentially, but kind of sort of helped him. And it was a really entertaining setup, and they still do it to this day. They're doing the exact same thing on their channel now, where it's the one guy plays while the other two just kind of commentate, and I find those guys really entertaining.
Well,
I know Louis has a lot, so be prepared.
Well, all right, let's go.
Everybody,
I'm
Hunker down, everybody.
I'm gonna wait on this. All right, so well, I mean, like for me, the content creation aspect of it, like there's always a lot that you can get into with it. It depends. I'm very particular with like the deep dives. That's my favorite thing. I love when people really start to pull things apart. I also love when people start to like get into more history kind of angles. Like right now, I've been listening to a lot of Scott the Woz. I love Scott the Woz. He's so freaking hilarious.
Coins are back, bitches!
I feel like he's a certain manifestation of one of my niches for comedy. So whenever I see him, I get these little dopamine rushes. I'm like, I love that joke. And then, you know, obviously, like my favorite of all time is easily Super Eye Patch Wolf. That guy, like every video that he does, I completely fall in love with. He's my favorite content creator of all time. Excuse me. He's and he does a few things for video games. His deep dive into Silent Hill 2 is incredible, and also his Final Fantasy VII, the original. He hasn't done the remake one yet, and I'm still waiting on him. And I kind of, if I ever meet him, I'd be like, give me my Final Fantasy remake, because I'm so. I agreed so hard with what he said about Final Fantasy VII. I want to see if like the things that he didn't like about remake are exactly what I think. But either way, and even then, I sent that to Dan, and Dan was like, "Well, now I got to play 7." So
I did watch the Sniper Eye Patchable Final Fantasy VII video after you told me about it, and then it's like, okay, now I'm trying to play through these games because I never properly understood them until after that.
Oh, they were so good, and again, like he picks it apart so perfectly. And then you got people like well, you know, shout out to Shanna. She loves this guy too. The story mode, which is, if you don't know who Internet Historian is, he's a massively popular YouTuber, but he does a lot of like actual events that really happen and just makes them hilarious. But he has another channel called Story Mode where he puts the like it's just this is one of the only Let's Play kind of things. It's not even really that. They just get footage and they just talk about the actual story mode, about the whole games. And I love them. I love them. They pick them apart really well. It's just fun. It's mindless. It doesn't do anything. And on that note, there's another guy, Totally Pointless, who has a lot. He used to do a lot of martial arts stuff, but now he's kind of focused on the video game stuff. And he does the entirety. Maria should watch it, of the God, what is that called again? Postal. He does all the Postal games. He deep dives into them, and like it's so good. It's like a 3-hour long thing, and I've seen it twice. It is so good. God, man, there's a few, and I really like a lot of people that get into the horror aspect too. Jacob Geller is another big one for me. He does a lot of horror stuff, but he does the best breakdown for Metal Gear Revengeance. I've seen it 12 times. It's so good and it's hilarious. Like, man, I love when people just talk about the games. Like, I don't need to watch you play the game. In fact, a lot of the time I don't watch people playing. I want to see what they thought about it after I played it. I won't even watch girlfriend reviews, which is another one I love massively, until after I played the game, just for fear of any kind of spoilers, which they don't spoil at all, really, but just in case. Like, I didn't know this character comes out, and I don't know. Like, there's always a fine line. Like, I don't even watch the previews. People know that. So when I see content creation being done like that, and it's inspiring me too. I want to see what I could do to get my toes wet, doing something along those lines. And I wanted to really do something for people that they don't have to fear learning too much or getting too much to come away from it, because that's what I look for personally. Like, is this game worth the buy? But don't tell me, yeah, because when you get to the end and everybody dies, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, come on, you know, like, let's do this the right way. And so I have a lot of love in my heart for the content creators that really dive deep into those kinds of things. And yeah, any of the guys that I just said, please go and watch them. They are all amazing content creators, and they're so good. They are so good. Anyway, yeah.
It's an interesting point to make though about like that sort of content, because like as soon as you said that, like a deep dive into things, you know, after you've finished the game, like I finished Returnal, and Returnal's got one of the most vague and ambiguous stories. Like you can basically, like, the four of us could play it, and the four of us could have 3 completely different theories on what the story actually means. So I remember I watched this. It was like a 35-minute long sort of deep dive into the story of Returnal, and this guy said, like, this is what he believes is the story of Returnal. He has all the little pieces of evidence that back up his theory, and it was so interesting going into his thing. And I was like, wow, this is it. This is the story. Like, my theory was not right. And right at the end of the video, he's like, yeah, but all of this could be wrong because of how the game is set up. The game is set up to kind of make your own story out of it. And it was so cool to have this whole deep dive into the story, but also it was like open-ended to kind of open it up to you, the audience, to say, like, what was your interpretation of it? And that's actually, like, that's a really cool type of content to say, like, let's deep dive into this and talk about everything that encompasses it, because video games have massive amounts of stuff that go into their world. So that's really cool.
Dude,
I'll
like-
dap you up for that one. That's a good choice.
So like I'm actually really happy Louis like brought that up, because like when I thought of like content creators, like I think Let's Play, that's what comes to my mind, but like I didn't even think about like deep dives, dude. Man, like the amount of deep dive stuff that I see like daily, even through like YouTube shorts, like I go down such a rabbit hole of lore of like games like Assassin's Creed, Gears of War, Metal Gear Solid, which I've been seeing a lot of Metal Gear Solid stuff recently. Like I love the dedication and work people have who get all their knowledge all together into this one giant freaking hour, 2-hour videos and like these shorts. I just, if I could do it, I would, but I feel like it would just never stop. I don't think I have the bandwidth to do it.
I know, like Louis and I, to his credit, we've talked about trying to make deep dive content before, and we've thought about like, yeah, let's do it, let's make it happen. But it's a daunting undertaking to do all that research and put it together and script it and get the footage. Like, I can't imagine how much work that is ultimately. And like, we've done smaller projects that have a little bit of that, and yeah, I want to do it. I would love to go hard on some of the things I'm most passionate about, but it's one of those things
lot
where
of
it's like you got to have the time to put the passion into it and just put that all together.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things that's why I like bringing up somebody like Super Eye Patch Wolf. He's very candid about a lot of the stuff that he does, and he tells you a lot of what the process is. If you watch a lot of his videos, this guy will start planning it out months ago, writes the script for another month, puts the video together for another month, and then puts that out this next month. So he only does one video a month, but those videos are worth it. And sometimes they're 3 hours long, sometimes they're 30 minutes long, but you're always going to get the exact kind of content that you expect from somebody like that. And sometimes he'll, like, I'm in his Discord and he's always apologizing if it's going to take an extra week or so. And I'm just like, dude, what, like, it's like Kojima, like, I need another year. Yeah, you got it. I don't even care. Like, because I know that the product is going to be worth it. And like we don't have that kind of time right now, maybe, but I think that like with a few of us, that should be something that we can eventually look into. There was another one I wanted to point out, this Power Pack, and he rose to like incredible popularity with his My House, the Doom engine.
Oh, the Doom mod, right?
Yeah. I kept seeing his thing pop up in my YouTube, and I'm like, whatever. And then finally one day I'm just like, all right, the algorithm usually gets it right. So I clicked on it, and this guy is amazing. And that's the first video that I saw because it was so popular. I'm looking at it right now. It's 9.6 million views. And like that was just great. And that's bad because he only has 229,000 subscribers. I'm like, guys, come on, man. Like, it was so good, and I fell in love with him, and I started watching all of his stuff, and he's got incredible content, like it, and it's just deep dive. I know a lot about scripts and stuff like that, but I don't think that I know half as much as what these guys know. There's a lot of that kind of stuff out there, and I love feeling smarter for having watched what somebody interpreted out of this whole thing. But yeah, it's a dopamine rush for sure. Absolutely, especially when you hear that your thing, it's not just well liked, but also you're smart for it. Like, yeah, cool. I get why Rick and Morty fans are like that.
I 100% have all the respect in the world for those people. Like, those guys deserve their flowers, man. Like, because I feel like I would be in my own way of doing something like that, because I would be like, all right, I'm going to release this video, but then I'll doubt myself and probably think like, do I really know what I'm talking about? Is this right? I don't know. I don't want to put this out there. And there's, those YouTube comments. Actually, he weighs 234 pounds, and where's his bandana sideways?
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen some of even my favorite content creators, like, they get it wrong, at least in my opinion. And I'm like, I'm just sitting in the back of my mind, just going, "This is dumb. This is dumb." I'm trying to refrain from the comment section,
but when you get videos like 2-3 hours long, like you can have it, man.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
You freaking earned it, man. Like, I think another issue I would have is like it would never be done, because I would always be like, oh wait, one more thing. Oh wait, no, hold on, I need to go back and talk about this thing. Oh my god, no, I have to redo everything now.
I mean, you're gonna have to kill your darlings eventually. Not everything's gonna make it off of the cutting room floor.
Well, I wanted to just shout out some things before we move on to our next topic. Just the channels that I love watching. There's a channel that I have to mention because I love them so much. Unfortunately, they don't do stuff anymore, but it's a channel called Super Best Friends Play. It's this like group of creators from Canada, and I watched them like way back in. I think they started in like 2011, 2012 or so. And I started watching them in 2013 and absolutely love these guys. So it's the two main guys are Matt and Pat, and then they've got a third guy that's on like occasionally. His name is Wooly, and they just play through like anything you can think of, like any game, and they've got like a lot of cool interests. And then they have a lot of cool series where they call it the Shitstorm. I think it's the Shitstorm, which is like just scary games. But everyone's got like a different subtitle to it. So like season 1 was called the Shittening. And I can't remember what the next seasons were called right now, but like it's so great. And they had Super Best Friends Brawl, which is where they'd play like multiplayer games against each other, like the three of them. And then like the winner obviously won that brawl. They played like Smash Bros and Mario Kart and like Mario Party, which if you're gonna go check out Super Best Friends play, go and watch their brawl where they play Mario Party because it's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. It is so good. And they actually broke up in 2019. It broke my heart. But yeah, really cool channel. Go and check them out because it's still all their stuff's still on YouTube. But I just wanted to shout them out because I love them. They were
It's not
really
very
cool.
familiar. I feel like I've seen a video or two before.
They were on Machinima. Is Machinima even still around?
Oh,
Do they do things?
It is. It's just not what it used to be.
that might have been where I've seen them.
It's not called Machinima anymore because there was that really bad sector.
That makes me think of like Team 4-Star was a channel I used to watch a lot, but that wasn't like a video game specific channel. They made the Dragon Ball Abridged series, which I used to love. And then they also went on to do some video game stuff where it was like the people in Team 4-Star who voiced the Dragon Ball characters would do these parodies of Dragon Ball characters playing video games. And one of my favorite ones was Vegeta makes Krillin play scary games. This is Vegeta like forcing Krillin to sit down in front of a game and force him to play it. I think the first one they did was like Slender Man, and it's just the dude who does the imitation Krillin, like, I guess this okay. I'm gonna go over here. He just gets scared constantly, and then Vegeta would be like, "You're gonna sit down. You're gonna play the game."
You guys ever seen
really weak Earthling?
You ever see the Honest Game trailers before?
Oh, I love those.
Oh my god,
dude, those are so good.
I can go down a rabbit hole and watch this for hours. How accurate those are half the time.
We were discussing this. I think it was the Childhood Games episode where I think it was Alex who said I must go watch the Half-Life 3 Honest Game trailer because I'd never seen it before. I watched it and it's so hilarious.
I did. I
it was
brought
like
it up
the
before.
cast and everyone to expect that's in the thing, and it was just like I think it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and like all these people. It's so good.
But did you read the comment section?
No, I don't think so.
Oh man, you missed.
No,
half
I may
of it.
have. I don't know. I need to go
You
check
missed
that out.
half of it if you didn't read the comment section because like I love that. I just went to check out what people were saying, and one of them was the first one that I saw was like. My favorite part was when the Ninja Turtles run into Batman and they have to save
I did read that. Yeah. Yeah, I did read stuff like that. Yeah,
and helped out Superman to knock out the T-Rex made out of gold. And like, what the? That was so good. That was so good.
Man. Anyway, so moving on to our next topic, we're going to talk about the effect that gaming content creators have on the video game industry. So obviously, speaking of Slender Man, that you mentioned it there, the indie horror game scene has definitely been helped out by gaming content creators for like massive, like most of the time that gaming content creation has been a thing. I mean, Slender is only kind of a thing because of, some big content creators playing Slender, and that's how kind of
culture and stuff.
Yeah, it just became like this wild meme kind of thing because of people playing the game and posting the videos of their scares online. I think that's quite a positive effect that it has on the industry, as it can help popularize indie games and smaller games that you may never have heard of, you may never play. So it's like this new wave of marketing for video games. You see a ton of creators, they get like a game code and they start playing it before the game's even released, which is like really cool. It's a nice way to market things. I think also a huge impact on the industry has been like the games as a service games. So like Fortnite and Call of Duty and Apex Legends. I mean, these categories on Twitch are watched by like hundreds of thousands of people like every day. And obviously that buoys a lot of these games with like a massive surge of popularity. So I kind of was thinking immediately that it's a really, really good thing for the industry for those specific reasons. But I think you guys had some negative side effects on that. So I wanted to touch on that because that's an interesting perspective. So who wants to lead off on that?
I don't think I really have negative. I mean, I think I kind of agree with you. Like, the only thing I think of it is promotion, like marketing. Like that's all I pretty much see it as for the most part, because it's like you have influencers, you have people who are partnered with like, you know, Twitch or different brands and whatnot. Like they get paid to play certain games, paid to say certain things. There's giveaways, sweepstakes, all that stuff, like Twitch drops. Like I just see it as one giant marketing promotion for companies. Yeah. And I mean that's it pretty much. I mean, I guess in some ways there's other ways where it can be beneficial. Maybe like if you have like a big name celebrity and their name's attached to like a dying game or something, and it might bring more players back into it, and you know, and it could turn it around. So I don't know. I mean, there's pros to it. I don't know too much negative. I'm very curious to hear negative.
I have two I can think of.
Dan's going to be the negative Nancy. Go ahead.
Not negative on the aspect, like to start with the positive side of it. I think it is good in the respect that a popular content creator can play a small niche game and get that niche game more players. That is a thing. It's going to happen. People are going to watch someone like PewDiePie or Markiplier play this tiny little indie game. They have a damn good time with it, and a bunch of people are going to run over and start buying that game, which is great for that game. The issue that I start to get is when it comes to that content creator making hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of dollars through their content, playing that game, but that game developer is still only getting the few, maybe thousands of dollars that they make off of sales. So it's a weird dichotomy where the content creator is just a person playing that game, and they're making buttloads of money from people, you know, gift subs, donations, tips, whatever have you, whatever version that they have for their particular channel for people to support them. And some of these YouTube channels make crazy money, and they're doing it playing a game that other people made who aren't making money from that. Their game might make more sales, but they're still nothing compared to what that creator is making with that.
So I mean, that's an interesting talking point, because I mean, you could play a game and post the gameplay online without having to worry about any kind of copyright infringements or anything like that. So do you think that there should be like a royalties thing attached to like pushing content out on a game?
I mean, it's tough because obviously these studios, the publishers, they want the games being promoted. They want that. That's why they aggressively pursue these partnerships with creators. It's a whole sect of like influencer relations that they have. They pursue these relationships. We have it here at CouchSoup. We have it here as creators. I do it for my personal channel. I've received game codes for this. Like, can you play my game on your channel to help share it with people? I'm a really small time creator though. I'm not making any money off of that, but I'm happy to help the independent creators when they want me to try to give them anything. But I mean, there's a lot of positives to it, and there's a few negatives that the second one I was thinking about earlier when Jake was talking escapes me now. So somebody else talk and see if it comes back to me.
So real quick, talking about when he was talking about like maybe like royalties or something to the creator, it was just making me think of Grand Theft Auto 6, the trailer. It got leaked. Think about how much money the person who leaked that made. How much has their fan base, their Twitter, YouTube, whatever they leaked it on, how much did that grow? And how much did that person profit off of it other than Rockstar?
It's hard to say because they were probably immediately copyright striked.
My next question is, when are they going to jail? Because it's probably going to happen.
That guy's getting assassinated. He's not going to see a jail cell.
Yeah. He's not
Rockstar
gonna
going to be like,
He's-
whoopsie, fell off a bridge.
So here's another thing I remember. This is another problem I have with this, and it's the fact that a game can live or die based on an influencer's perspective and take. And it's killing some games that don't deserve the heat that they get. More recently, my biggest issue comes from Immortals. Immortals is a really cool game. It's really fun. I recommend people should try and play it. But it got crushed in like user opinions and reviews because a bunch of influencers were like, "Oh, this game is bad." The game hadn't been out for like a day, and there was a bunch of people bad mouthing it and saying all these terrible things about the game, and the game's sales tanked. That studio had to do a 40% layoff of their staff. The game's only been out for like 3 months. But it's a good game, and nobody's giving it a chance because they watched XYZ creator play it for 5 minutes and go, "This is dumb." And they all, hundreds of thousands of people went, "Oh, it must suck," They don't stop for a second to think on their own or to try it for themselves. And I think
a
that's
lot of
that.
I think a lot of that though comes from the culture that a lot of companies are starting to make now. Like, get the game out now so that we can fix it later, get the patches and all of that.
Yeah.
So everybody has this weird thing about being the first one, and like, dude, give me a goddamn week. Most games are 50 hours long. I'll beat it in 4 years. Okay, like
Yeah,
I
that
get
first
it.
culture, that's a real problem too.
Mhm.
It really
Yeah.
is. I mean, even like that's like, as a small content creator, I oftentimes I don't want to review games because I'm gonna have to play the whole thing, and I take my time with games. I like exploring everything that I can. I like going through every single option, dying and going, "Oh, that's don't
I mean,
do that."
technically, at least I'll give us a little pat on the back. You don't have to do that with CouchSoup necessarily.
No, they've been very good about like like that. That's why a lot of my content I like to do like our first hour. I like doing that stuff. We're just doing small snippets to show like, hey, if you like this, you might like this. And but not everybody does that. Everybody wants to be the first one to be like, okay, so here's what it means that that she was really the chick's mom the whole time, and I'm like, I could have, can you give me like a week, please? like right now, Jujutsu Kaisen, they're spoiling everything because whenever apparently like they're killing off characters, and now every time I get onto Facebook, it's like, oh, by the way, this character just died. Isn't that really sad? But I haven't watched it yet.
You can talk about how Jake beat Spider-Man 2 in 2 days because he wanted to avoid spoilers.
There is that.
So did I.
I mean, yeah, but half here.
I was actually just about to say Spider-Man 2. I played like midnight Thursday night when it came out on the 20th. I started playing it. I like literally played it for 19 hours straight that day, and then went to bed the next day, finished it, and I didn't touch social media for that whole Friday, that whole Saturday. And I went onto social media on Saturday as soon as I finished it. And the first thing I saw when I opened up YouTube was a scene that spoiled the ending. And that's like the bad side of content creation in gaming, where it's like, hey, this brand new game that released 7 seconds ago, here's the ending scene, and we're gonna spoil it for you. That happens for movies as well. The fact that, like, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the fact that Shadow appears in the post-credit scene. Sorry, spoilers for that if you haven't seen it.
You
yet.
should have stuck around for the post-credit scene.
By the way.
Shit, I just ruined everyone's night. No, but that was ruined. That was spoiled because I was like, I think I was literally sitting outside the theater ready to go into the movie, and I was like scrolling through YouTube, and I saw it said Sonic post-credit scene, and I like quickly looked away, but I had the quickest little glance of Shadow's boot, like his shoes that he wears, and I was like, I don't know exactly what that is, and I was shattered because I was like, I wanted that effect of like seeing it in the post-credit scene. Oh, it's worse. So when gaming content creators do that, like, there should be an embargo on like anything past the first 6 hours of a game you can't post for like a
Technically,
week
there
or
usually is, but
something.
most people just say, "Fuck that! I'm gonna do whatever I
There's
want."
content creators that get games like 4 days before release, and they release like every part of it before the game even comes out.
Oh my god, you're gonna be shitting yourself when you see, what happens at the end when this guy dies. Like,
And you get the YouTube thumbnail face too.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, that game hasn't even come out yet.
I don't know. That made me so angry because I had Avengers Infinity War spoiled to me. As people were walking out of the theaters, there was one idiot who comes out and he's like, I can't believe. I'm just like, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Like deck that.
It wasn't the main spoiler for people who haven't seen the film. I mean, I'm gonna be generous for people who haven't seen the film. It wasn't the main ending spoiler. It was like the halfway, the cliff. Yeah, that was spoiled for me. But talking about like how games like make or break like a community, content creators can make or break a game. I know I gave this game a little bit of crap a few weeks ago on the Spider-Man episode. I threw the Golem game. We can replay that clip if we need to. From such a great game. Because we don't want this. Redacted.
How dare you?
That clip.
Oh, there we are. Hi.
I played through it recently. I opened it up, made sure the disc was okay after I threw it. I agree, but don't agree. I don't think the game Golem deserves that much hate that it got. I could be in the very low minority here, but
it has me curious to try and play it at least because you were like, it's not that bad.
Quick impressions for people who are on the fence about it. The controls suck. 100%. The platforming sucks. I feel like a PlayStation 1 game runs better, like has better controls than this game. The story I did not mind. I actually liked the story, and I don't know if it helps because I love Lord of the Rings, but I definitely really did enjoy the story, and I liked where it was fit inside the universe, which kind of makes sense. But I also feel like, like content creators and everybody's like bashing it. This is the worst game of all time and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think you're taking it a bit too far. I mean,
they should play Avatar, the last Airbender that just came out this year. That's a heaping pile of dog shit.
It's like, I think the game did deserve some hate, but I don't think it deserved that level of hate that I got. I would say I got it for $10. Definitely worth it for $10. $20, maybe. If you got $20,
let me borrow $20.
$60, no. That's all I have to say about.
I mean,
that.
that's an interesting point because there's a lot of creators that jump on the bandwagon and it's just like, oh, everyone's hating this game. Let me just join the.
And now all their followers now have that mindset.
Yeah, they do the exact same thing. They all have that exact thing.
But I think there's also like an antithesis part of that where like people were bashing Gotham Knights when it came out, and rightly so because it was bad when it came out. But after all the updates, I was thinking about getting it when it was on special, and I watched some gaming content creators make some videos on it, and there was like quite a few videos I watched where they said, "Hey, listen, the game's actually pretty fun now. Game's actually a pretty solid game." And I was like, you know what? I love the concept of Gotham Knights, and I love Batgirl. She's one of my favorite superheroes. I just wanted to play as Batgirl. I think I played one mission as Nightwing, and the rest of my 70 hours in the game, I think I played with Batgirl. But I picked up the game and I was like, cool, let me give this a try. And yes, I can see where it's technically flawed, but I love these creators said, you know what, it's got its problems, but it's a super fun game to play. And I love that sort of sincereness of saying like, it's not going to win game of the year, but go and play it. It's going to be really fun. If you like this kind of thing, if you like this concept, then give it a shot. So that's kind of the other side of it as well, where bad games, you have content creators that can kind of say, well, you know what, it's still pretty fun. Give it a shot. And I think what Jake is saying right now is kind of the exact thing about Gollum.
Yeah.
Go and play it, and if you want refunds, Jake will reimburse you.
No, I mean, send it to CouchSoup.
Yeah, but that's just inherently a lot of the problem with like a lot of what the companies are doing right now. They're just making the game, they're getting it out there, and then hoping that okay, well, we'll make it better retroactively. And I mean, shame on them.
I think it's more on the publisher than it is on the developer, though. Because the publishers are the ones that are pushing games out.
Okay. That's exactly what I said. I wrote an article on Gotham Knights and why it's like really fun and people should give it a try, because since it's been updated and patched, it's actually like a pretty stable, fun game to play now. And I think it was released unfinished. And I think it's because WB Games, the publishers, were like, we have no game in this release window. We need this game
something
out
for the fiscal year. We need this game out. So
and I think WB Montreal, who are the devs, I think they were like, listen, this game is not finished. Like, we
look at
need a couple
Suicide
more
Squad
months or something.
You know,
Yeah. Have you guys played? Has anyone played, like, quick tangent here? But has anyone played the alpha test of Suicide Squad? Dude, it's still really, really, really mid. It's really average. I got to play it, and you get to play like a little sequence with each of the 4 characters, and then you get like an endless. It's like an endless mode where there's just enemies that spawn. So it's like literally 15 minutes of gameplay, but it's still really kind of like average. It's got potential, but we'll have to see when it comes out. Quick little moment there. I'm not actually able to share any of my footage. It's like a big NDA that you sign.
Oh wow!
It says you may not write about this, you may not post any of this. It's got your username posted all over the screen. So I literally couldn't actually do anything about it. Otherwise I would have. Anyways, moving on from that, unless you guys have anything more to add.
I potentially could add a lot
be
more.
here all night.
We'll be all night. So let's sleekly move into our next topic, which is totally related to what we're talking about. And that's games that break the fourth wall. Kind of related, because watching someone play a game and then they talk to you is kind of like breaking the fourth wall. See what I did there, guys? See what I did? No, it's terrible. I'm sorry. But anyways, talking about games that break the fourth wall. So we've got a lot of examples of games that have broken the fourth wall. I mean, the famous examples are something like Deadpool, which is a big one. I mean, we all know Deadpool, the character, and how fourth wall breaking he is. But there's a lot of like cool fourth wall breaking games. Some of the ones I wanted to shout out is the Stanley Parable, which I think is maybe more meta than it is fourth wall breaking, but it is a really mind-bending, fun game to play. Pick it up. I think it's only on Steam. But pick it up. It's a really fun game. It's got like a bajillion different endings. Maybe not that many, because bajillion's not even a real number. But it's got a lot of endings, a lot of cool things you can do with the game. So check it out. The other one, which we are going to be playing tonight on Screen Smash after hours, quick little plug, is Inscription, which is it's like a card-based roguelike type game, but it's like a crazy trip of like fourth wall breaking and meta and like all over the place. It's insane, actually, how much actually goes into that game. It's really crazy. But I wanted to start off, before we start mentioning our favorite fourth wall breaking games, I wanted to open it up with this topic and say video games inherently kind of break the fourth wall. Like the entire experiences. And I don't think it's a concept of like breaking the fourth wall. I think it's more of like that fourth wall is more transparent, right? And think about it like this. If you're in an area that you need to get out of, your character, like let's say there's like a crate and there's a ledge you need to get up, right? And you need to use the crate. Your character is going to say, I think I can use that crate to climb on. So the game is kind of...
You get the internal monologue outside, so you hear their thoughts. Because like every time I play games and a character has a lot of internal monologue that they're speaking out loud, I'm like, who talks to themselves like this?
Dude, it frustrates me. I hate it when they do that. But when it's like obvious and it's like, I need to find something. No, you do, but these guys say it out loud. That's
one of my main thoughts playing Spider-Man. It's like, man, these Spider-Man sure like talking to themselves.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Like, I gotta get that pigeon before my friend runs away because he needs the pigeon.
Spider-Man loves talking to
himself.
himself.
There's ones where it's literally like, I should use that crate to climb on to get up to that ledge. And it's like, you should have like just told me exactly what to do. We pretty much did. I think Uncharted always did it in a nice way where like your characters that are with you kind of say, like you'll have Sully like on the other side of the area and he'd be like, oh, Nate, come check this out. And then it's like, great. He's like, go pull that. Yes, check this out. Like that's cool because it feels like the two characters are working together rather than like Nathan Drake saying, hey, player, I think we should go over there. It feels like a little bit like that's where that fourth wall is like kind of transparent. It feels kind of like it's acknowledging us without acknowledging us. So what are you guys' opinions on that and like how inherently games are kind of fourth wall breaking and more immersive?
My first thought that popped in my head as soon as you said that games are inherently fourth wall breaking was just HUDs and button presses and like press X to punch. Oh, okay. Like the game is flat out telling you need to do this thing to do the thing in the game, which is breaking the fourth wall to tell you how to do the thing. Just video game tutorials in general are a fourth wall breaking action because it's the game stopping gameplay to say, hey, player, this is what you need to do to get from here to there. Got it? Cool.
Especially when they do that slow-mo, like if you have like a quick time event and it's like somebody's about to hit you and it like stops. It's like press B to dodge or to counter.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was playing New World the other day, and the whole intro sequence of New World is exactly that, where it's like you walk and it stops you, and it's like press E to click on this, and you're like, okay, and you press E, and then it's like a guy jumps out and it'll be like roar, and it stops, and it's like click the right mouse button to block, and you can't do anything else until you do it.
Yeah,
and it's like the whole sequence plays out like that.
Is this the part where we reference Spider-Man 3 again for like the third time on the show?
I was going to get to that, especially like the
I'm going to die.
I was actually going to mention Spider-Man because of the tutorial levels in Spider-Man with what's his name?
Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
No. Cameo.
Sandman.
Shoot webs.
Ashley Williams from Evil Dead.
Ash?
Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Give me the tutorial.
Oh,
cut that part out.
Spider-Man 1 and 2 and what's
and he's like, "Hey, genius, press the jump button to jump."
Right.
I love those tutorials.
Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is jump off the building. I mean it. Just jump. Hey, I wouldn't tell you to do something dangerous and life-threatening, would I?
Okay, one of the best tutorials when it comes to that, Portals 2. Oh my god!
Yes,
I love Portals 2.
Press A to speak, and if you jump, okay, well, you jumped.
Well,
man.
you jumped.
That's not what you were supposed to.
I love Portal 2's opening. It's so good.
That was so good. This is art. Stare at the art until you feel something. Ding! Did you feel something? Good. Go back to bed. Oh my god! That. Like when you can mask it into something that just or like we're kind of talking about it like just go ham, man. Like commit to the bit and then just make it stupid.
I think Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon did that really well too.
Oh my god,
yeah.
He was like, I hate tutorial.
Yeah, run the tutorial. And he runs away. He's like, oh god, now push this button to squat. I know how to do this. That was brilliant. That's so brilliant. But then like I think of something also like Metal Gear, where they just kind of like you're in the zone. They're like, now press the B button.
You got hold on. There's always a thing. It's like, hey, there's a ladder. You run up to the ladder, and then it's like, bring. Snake, press the action button to climb the ladder, and you're like, okay, thanks. And then you click on the ladder and you go up, and then it's like, bring. Like, hi, Colonel. What is it this time? Snake. To look in the vent, you have to press the action button, and then you use the joystick to look like this, and then you press the action button again. You're like, great, thanks.
I know. I remember in Snake Eater. There's a great bit if you get the infinite gun. When you talk to the ballistics guy, like he tells you, even he's like, wait, are you saying that the gun is actually infinite ammo? He's like, yeah. If you look in the little icon, it shows a Mobius. That means that it's infinite. So you see, it's self feeding, and it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
I love that.
It can't be stopped. It's self-sustaining now.
I love those little tidbits. Like the rest of it is 100% realistic, but then you get that.
I forgot that Snake Eater had a conversation about Godzilla when you talked to Paramedic one of the first times. And I'm like, oh, that's right. They have this like super long conversation about Godzilla, and Snake's just like, what is that? And Paramedic's just like nerding out hard about it.
I remember I talked about it. I think it was like either last week or at some point. I had a conversation with one of y'all to where playing through the Master Collection, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 1 on Xbox, which it never was on Xbox. So I'm having the codec conversation with Colonel, and he's like, Snake, press the X button to do this. But and it said X under the subtitles. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, hit X.
Is it
and then
this X or that?
Exactly. And then like right after that, he goes and hit hit square to do this. But then the subtitles said like A, and I was like, Hold on. Now, was X actually X, or is X this X? Which controller? I was like, what is going on? I think it was like the steer the missiles or something. I don't know. But it gave me such anxiety because I was like, what am I doing? I only have a certain amount of bullets. I don't want to blow it up.
There was a great game way back in the day. I showed you at least the video that one of my favorite YouTube videos ever, which is which is somebody reading an angry game review because it was just a kid, so like with all the typos, this game is so essy. It's so good. And then I actually checked out the game itself back on the old Newgrounds site. The game is called Super Press Spacebar to Win. And it's an RPG that it was really well done. It was just stick figures, but it was really well done, where it's like, congratulations, new adventurer. Now press spacebar to enter the castle. You push spacebar. Good job. And then the guy goes in the castle and he goes, oh no, you found your first foe. Press spacebar to smack him. Push spacebar. And it's like, all right, good job. Now he's about to attack. Press spacebar to block. And then you push spacebar. It's like, great job. So the game is literally, you just wait for it to tell you when to press spacebar. But that was the joke. And it was really well done too. It had great graphics. It was, again, they're all stick figures, but they still did really well. And there's so much that you can do with just kind of breaking that barrier. And I don't know, I appreciate it. Not all the time. Sometimes it's a little too, on the nose or whatever. But man, if you nail it, that's the most memorable part in that game.
It's always my favorite part when a game has fun with the fourth wall break. That's where I'm always like, yeah, this is good.
It's like that thing from, I think it was the Childhood Favorites episode as well, that just like blew my mind, talking about Metal Gear Solid, that freaking fight against the psychic or whatever, where you have to take the controller out of port 1 and put it into port 2.
Yeah,
I was like, how does that
So again, we can double back on this, because again, I've also been playing Metal Gear 1 on the Xbox, and I was talking to Jake about this because I got to that fight with Psycho Mantis, and I'm like, I don't have a controller port 2. How do I do this? So I literally, because like there was even the question about there's the in-game secret of like how to call Meryl by looking at the back of the CD case, but if you don't have the CD case, how do you know how to call her? And I was doing the Psycho Mantis fight, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to beat this. And I actually looked online and saw that there's another way to beat Psycho Mantis that I never knew.
Yeah.
Ever in all my life, there's another way to beat him. But you have to die 3 times, and then the colonel tells you like, so you can't use controller port 2? And I'm like, nope. And then he goes, oh, well, why don't you try shooting the statues in the room? And you can shoot the statues, and then it fucks up Psycho Mantis's powers. If you try to do that before they tell you, it doesn't work.
What? I was going to ask that. What?
It doesn't work. But anyways,
I'm just like, this is re-blowing my mind.
I messaged Jake too. I was like, I got messed up with the controller thing. He's like, oh, there's actually a setting in the game's UI. You can go in and physically in the menu change the controller port for that fight.
It's only meant for that fight.
It's a setting in the game.
It does nothing else except for that fight. That's the only time you can use it.
Dude, the reason that blows my mind so much is because there's games that if you unplug a controller, the PlayStation will rage quit, and it'll be like,
please
that is not allowed. And it'll be like, it just explode. So like that idea of like you take it out and
Psycho Mantis reads your memory card.
Playing the game,
and he goes, I can see you've been playing Crash Bandicoot, and it's like,
what? No, there's no ways.
Yeah, he does
that happens really. Oh my!
Yeah, you need. This is like the how many times on this podcast we've said, Nick, play Metal Gear.
We're gonna do a Screen Smash special where you play Metal Gear.
We absolutely need to do this. Awesome. And you said you call Meryl by looking at the back of the case. What's that about?
You have your case, and since the very first Metal Gear Solid game, there's a moment in time you have to find her, and she's dressed up like all the other soldiers, and so you're like, oh, I don't know how to tell the difference.
I love how you just had that case handy. You were just like, this is the case.
Literally, like no, like legit. Like here's the original Metal Gear. There's a point in the game where Colonel says you have to look at the back of the CD case, and it's like, what CD case? What is CD case? Because you're looking in your inventory. I don't have a CD case. It's literally this, like right there.
There's a
That's what he's
codec
talking about.
conversation, and then on the newer one,
Is there a phone number there or what?
Yeah, it's a codec number.
this one,
Yeah,
and it's an actual. It's a
call people.
frequency.
And it has it. It's in this. It says in the text, it's like Meryl. So it's basically like this is Meryl's phone number.
That is that's fourth wall breaking.
Yes.
Oh yeah, to the max.
Just
but-
leave it
It is
alone. I'm
good.
sure Dan and I can just go on forever talking about this is the fourth wall.
I was
game.
going to talk about Twin Snakes too, because Twin Snakes does more.
Imagine never owning the case.
Yeah.
Imagine never owning the case because you would rent it, and they didn't give you the case with it. That was.
What do you do if you have the digital version?
So I think if you buy the digital version, it comes with I think the manual or something. I think it's in there somewhere.
It's in the manual, yes. But you have to know to look in the manual to find it.
Or if you want to do things the super hard way, you go through every frequency in the game and just call it.
Well, you find a lot
And
doing
hope
that.
and hope you're near her because you have to be near her when you call her for it.
Yeah.
I need to get these. I need to play them, and it's gonna be a whole let's play because I need to find these moments because that is like,
Dude, it's so good. So good.
that's crazy.
So good. I was going to shout out
I mean, that's-
Twin
yeah.
Snakes too, because Twin Snakes is a remake of the original game that came out on GameCube only. And in that game, there's literally moments where Snake looks at the camera and like acknowledges the player, and you're like, "Don't look at me like that, Snake."
Whoa.
I just in that same vein, I have to shout out a fourth wall breaking moment I just thought of now, which is one of the most iconic ever, which is from Tomb Raider 2.
Mhm.
Which right at the end of the game, in response to everyone saying, "Oh, Lara Croft, she's all about her sex appeal or whatever," like right at the end of the game, she looks to the camera and she says, "Haven't you seen enough?" And then whips out a shotgun and
Don't you think you've seen enough?
it's so good. It's a great commentary on her character and how she's a lot more than just being super sexual. I mean, that times it was just polygons. It was just like,
Yeah, just the pointy boobs.
but they are remaking or remastering the first 3 games. I'm so excited. It comes out in February. Comes out on her birthday, February
Oh, cool.
14th, Valentine's Day. Little piece of trivia for you. Lara Croft's birthday, Valentine's Day.
Interesting.
There you go.
Did
now
not
you
know
know.
that.
Hopefully they
The
make
more
it good.
you know.
Are there any other fourth wall breaks that you guys know of? Because
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
have got the craziest
If we're
ones. I
talking
need
about
more.
the games, like I said, I don't know. Like I was talking to Dan beforehand. I was like, your game of Metal Gear Solid was literally what I was going to talk about too. I was like, there's so many fourth wall breaks in that game. Like in the series, the entire series, there was the Hind fight in Metal Gear Solid 1, where it's like, Snake, you can't see him, so you need to hear. You fight the helicopter, the Hind. It's like you need to use your ears to listen for where it's going to be because it's going to pop out from under the building and you got to find it. And it's like, use your stereo TV to listen for him. And then it's like, if you call him or something, I can't remember. And it's like, Snake, you're not using a stereo TV. And then I have it like right here. I have the whole like conversation. It was just like, oh, Snake, don't worry about it. There's more to being a good person than having a stereo television. Dude, there's so many
Dude,
funny
what
stuff.
are these games? I love it so much.
And then you had go ahead.
I was
I'll
saying,
let
not to
Dan
mention
go
Metal
first.
Gear Solid 2, the sequence
Yes.
when you're as Raiden running around naked, and there's this sequence where the colonel is calling you, but he's a computer program and he's glitching, and he starts saying the most random shit. And one of the lines I will never forget till the day I die, he calls you and he's like, "Don't you have anything better to do than play a video game on a Saturday afternoon?" And I'm just like,
Right? Dude, that was creepy as a kid.
That one hurt. That
He's
one
like,
hurt. I
right,
remember.
turn the game off now. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that
What?
one too.
That was
Like,
what I was
turn the
gonna say.
game off.
And then you had like Rose chiming in, and she was just like, "Oh, you ruin your eyes sitting that close to the TV." And like, I'm a person who plays the game like this close to the TV at all times, always has been. And I was just like, "This is creepy." Like, hold on.
Okay. One of the most creative. I never actually played it, but I know a good amount about it. I believe is Eternal Darkness.
I can tell you all
Wanna
about
say?
Eternal Darkness.
That's the one with the psych meter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the head that floats around and like the limbs explode?
That's part of it. But like the TV turning off
Mm-hmm.
and then turning right back
we
on.
were talking about this in the Halloween
Well,
special.
Psycho Mantis
yeah.
did that with a TV turn off thing. It would do Hideo. You're like,
No, I was gonna say, yeah. The Metal Gear still always, but like, yeah, but I always appreciate, and that is scarier than all hell when you really think about it. Like having a game really kind of mess with you. Like it shows like the volume meter going down, and like you're just losing. Oh man, like that
You're
goes
just like, that's
beyond
not normally what
wall.
that looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that goes beyond like fourth wall breaking at this point. That is just good mechanics. That's somebody knowing how to utilize everything at their disposal to mess with the player. Like you can get so creative with it. You can do so much with it that it's boring to just have somebody go and then move on. And so, you know, like I don't know. I have a lot of appreciation and a lot of respect for developers that do that kind of stuff. Like now there's some games, I can't remember which one it is. I know we were talking about it before, that there's a like you have like a camera and you have to take shots in certain areas, and then you can use the pictures to like make platforms to get to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
That itself is its own fourth wall break, you know. They're man. Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that like there's so much more that you can do than just a nod and a wink to like, hey player, we're watching you. Like, come on, man. Like, do something with it. Make it worth our while. Wow us. Do something that nobody's ever seen before. Like, I don't know. And the biggest place that I can see that coming from is indie developers. They're the ones who really have to think outside the box because they have to wow you with this, and this is all that they're going to get.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that those are the developers that we always need to listen to. I mean, even Portal itself was, you know, kind of like a concept. It was just some students that were like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. Like, hey, look what happens when we have this glitch. And then it turned into one of the best video games ever made, and one of the funniest too. My God, it's so good.
It's brilliant.
Oh, Portal is the Into the Spider-Verse of video games. There, I said it.
Did you know that Portal 2 is getting a fan-made official add-on?
Really?
Yeah, it's like a 10-hour expansion. It's coming to Portal 2.
I saw something about that.
Jeez. I saw one that adds a third color. It's purple. I have it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, but there's a new add-on coming to Portal 2.
When am I getting Portal VR version? I want to throw up.
Portal 3.
If you get a Steam
Portal
Deck,
3 and Half-Life 3.
Steam Deck has a game that's specific to the Steam Deck that's kind of like in the Portal universe. I think it's called Desk Job.
Yeah, it's the one where you have to like it's like a sim almost, and you have to like make the things work out. Yeah. I haven't played that one, but I heard it's really good.
It's pretty good. It's only like an hour long, but it's super fun, and it's got like the Portal style of writing.
Yeah. Hey, Gabe, how about instead of giving us 0.5, 0.7, and 0.0009 versions, just give us 3, goddammit.
Or just make more. Don't worry about numbers.
Gabe,
we need the 3. The trilogy of 3 from Gabe. Give us Half-Life 3, Portal 3, and Left 4 Dead 3. That's what we
have
need.
Half-Life 2 Part 1, Half-Life 2 Part 2.
Yes.
The fourth wall
and it finished on a cliffhanger. Anyways.
I get it. Keep them wanting. I wanted enough. So Gabe.
Well, I think that's gonna just about wrap us up, unless you guys have anything more you'd like to add.
Did we say Deadpool?
Well, we mentioned Deadpool right at the beginning, but if there's anything specific you want to reference there,
not really. Just
Deadpool and how awesome Nolan is at playing Deadpool.
Yeah, just gotta shout that out.
People tell me we sound alike. Yeah, well, fuck you, Nolan.
But I want to point out one thing about Deadpool that I don't think enough people talk about. And that's how perfectly it is that like you don't know what is actually happening. I have actively tried to understand what the real story is behind everything, and he goes so far out of his way to not like listen to anything. You get so close. So now we have to find a.
Oh, and then he's like,
oh,
he
well,
zones
maybe I
out.
should look at that thing over there.
The best
Like-
part was when he caused so much chaos and stuff, and he goes through that door, and then it's just like it's an old school like video game graphics are like super terrible. He's like, "What is this?" And it's like the budget. You ruined the budget. Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Hold on, let me make a phone call real quick." He starts like talking. He like reopens the door or something.
Yeah,
and
it was all the soldiers in like T poses and all the all the graphic thing. Like it was a completely
the best
broken.
one. I love the beginning when he's just like he's like talking to like the Nolan or whatever. He's just like F you Nolan.
Yeah. Fuck off, Nolan. Click. And then when he has the bookshelf and he tries to look at the books, but it's just a piece of art. He's like, I guess that they gave this to the art student. All right.
That's
so
good. Very, very good game as well.
That's an absolute classic to play, man. Well, that's just about gonna wrap it up for this episode of Screen Smash. Thank you guys so much for joining us and watching this episode. Thank you guys for being on it.
Week.
Dan, thank you so much. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Dan, thank you so much. Louis, thanks for being here. Jake, thanks for being here. This has been Screen Smash. As you said, you can find us on Twitch Monday nights, 8 p.m. Central, Fridays at 2 p.m. Central for the edited version. It is Godzilla Week here at CouchSoup as well. We're celebrating all things Godzilla. We've got a whole bunch of articles, whole bunch of podcast episodes. There's a lot of stuff coming out that we're going to be celebrating the big kaiju Godzilla. So make sure you stick around for all the cool Godzilla stuff and stick around for all the other cool, amazing stuff we do here at CouchSoup. We write lots of cool articles, lots of cool videos, lots of cool podcasts like this. So make sure you keep it locked in right here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on over to CouchSoup.com where you can find all of this juicy goodness and become a member today for some cool exclusive perks. We're going to be revamping the memberships very soon, and there's going to be a whole bunch of brand new cool stuff. So make sure you go on there and check it all out. But thank you guys for joining us for this week's episode of Screen Smash. Guys, thank you. And let's figure out a cool way to break the fourth wall and say goodbye.
Don't forget to look on the back of the case for Meryl's codec number.
What was that noise?
What was that noise? There's something behind you.
Press X to say hi.
No gear.
Press the action button to do the action.
Press spacebar to win.